Valkyrie Digital Assets has filed an application for an Ethereum-focused ETF with the SEC, roughly a month after filing one for spot Bitcoin ETF. So, what does this all mean? This is exciting, isn't it? Who knows? Maybe they'll buy some of Donald Trump's ETH to put in there. We don't know. Joining us now to discuss is CoinDesk Global Policy and Regulation Managing Editor Nick Day, who is also the editor of CoinDesk State of Crypto newsletter, the thing that every mother loves getting on Mother's Day. Good morning, Nick.
Good morning.
So Valkyrie thinks that, hey, if it's good enough to file for Bitcoin, it's good enough to file for ETH. They're going all in. Why are they doing this right now?
Yeah, so Valkyrie is just the latest company to jump on a trend of, several other companies have filed for Ether futures ETFs. And they all seem to think that, first off, there's a real chance that the SEC will not stand in the way of this ETF application, and B, that it could launch as soon as this year. We've seen a number of companies, as I said, filed for Ethereum Strategies ETF, so investing in Ether futures products rather than spot Ether or whatever. And without getting too into the the nitty gritty of this, they're all filing under a specific law that would allow them to launch sooner rather than later, should the SEC not object. Traditionally, in the past, when companies have tried this, we've seen the SEC object fairly quickly and tell companies, okay, we're not going to allow us to withdraw your filing. That hasn't happened so far yet. So, hopes are high.
It hinges, though, on the SEC saying that I assume it hinges on the SEC saying that ETH is not a security, right? That they uphold the Hinman doctrine. What are we calling it? That ETH is not a security.
That's absolutely one of the considerations. Whether or not, how the SEC is looking at ETH. But one factor that I think everyone's keeping in mind here is that you already have Ether futures products themselves. So it's not like the SEC can say, oh well, you don't even have an Ether futures product. Yes, CFTC has okayed Ether futures a while ago. I think that's part of what everyone's looking at right now. How the SEC is going to classify Ether moving forward, I think it is. We've gotten hints and suggestions that SEC Chair Gary Gensler and others at the agency might say that it is now a security post transition or post merge to the proof of stake process, but we haven't seen anything come out too official, I guess is how I would phrase it, right? There's no lawsuits alleging that ETH is a security like they have with other cryptocurrencies. We haven't seen any rulemaking or guidance, so things are a little up in the air right now.
Jen?
So between the Ethereum and Bitcoin focused ETFs, which one is more likely to be approved by the SEC? I feel like we talk about ETFs on this show every day. Now we have Ethereum, Ether futures ETFs, we have spot Bitcoin ETFs, we have ETFs over in Amsterdam that have nothing to do with this. What is the SEC more likely going to approve here?
So just right now, the Ether futures ETFs seem to have a slightly greater chance of happening timeline-wise sooner for sure. The thing to watch out for here is, whether or not the SEC objects and asks these, the sponsors of these applications to withdraw them. We haven't seen that yet. We might still see it, in the next 2 months or so, but, every day that passes where it doesn't happen is a greater chance that the ETF will indeed be approved. As far as the spot Bitcoin ETFs, that process is ongoing. Those, I imagine, we're not going to get any kind of, quick response to, unless the SEC decides, okay, well, you know what, you're just going to let all of these happen at once. But I think that's still, we have time to go before we get to that particular project or part of that process.
I believe the SEC is due to make some decisions in September on the spot Bitcoin ETFs. Do you think those are going to get delayed, or is that what is generally being said?
Yeah, I mean, every time in the past, whenever the SEC has come to a deadline where it has the option to delay a decision, it's delayed the decision, right? It's every time they've said, we want to extend a rulemaking period, or we want to put out a comment period, or whatever. So I think everyone's expecting that when these deadlines hit next month, the SEC is going to say, okay, we want to spend more time considering this. They might have to check where they are in the process. They may or may not be at the whole public comment stage, but if not, certainly that'll be next.
All right, Nick, thank you for joining us this morning. That was CoinDesk Global Policy and Regulation Managing Editor Nick Day. And don't forget to sign up for the State of Crypto newsletter on CoinDesk.com.